up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Poker Vlog. Coming off that nice winning session at Downstream Resort and Casino, we are headed back to the cash game streets in Springfield, Missouri. Pretty excited to get back into it. Hopefully we can string some wins together, get things headed back in the direction we were always hoping they would go until we hit that ridiculous losing streak there for a while. So anyway, feeling really good. Time to get after it. Nice little evening session. The video's been going really well, so I appreciate everybody watching and liking and subscribing and all that kind of stuff. It really helps out, helps keep me motivated to make these videos, and just feels great to have a little bit of support out there. So thanks a whole bunch. I appreciate it. Now we're gonna go ahead and hop into the action, see if we can break the losing streak that we've had going in this game for feels like forever. Hopefully we can find a win. Gonna see if we can play halfway decent. I think we played halfway decent at Downstream the other day, so let's keep that going. Time to jump into some hands. First hand of the session, we look down at ace-jack suited from the button. We're starting this hand off with about $300. Under the gun, who's a very active player, the guy that we mentioned before, who's a super nice guy and good for the game, makes it $10. Under the gun +1 calls. Action folds to me. I decide it's time to load up a 3-bet. Decide to go to $45 since there's already somebody in there, and both players fold. So not a very exciting hand. We just 3-bet and take it down, but it shows that our opening range is getting a little bit of respect here just to start things off. Not too much later, we look down at the best hand ever created. We've got pocket aces under the gun, starting this hand with about $300. I open up to $15, and the hijack and the button, two regulars in the game, very active players, both make the call. So we are off to see a flop multi-way. Flop comes down ace high, so we are flopping top set. However, there are two clubs, so we have some things that could be in the works against us. I go ahead and check, and the action checks through. So not really our favorite situation, especially when the 2 of clubs rolls off on the turn. So the front door flush draw completes. However, I've still got top set, so I've got plenty of equity, even if somebody happens to have a flush. I go ahead and lead out for $25. Not really sure if I need to be doing that here. Probably might as well, I guess. And both players fold. So unfortunately, we flop top set and don't get very much money in, but we'll take this one down anyway. A little bit after that, the premium hands just keep on rolling in. We look down at pocket queens from the cutoff. We're starting this hand off with about $330. There are 4 limps to me, and I raised it up to 20 bucks. I think this is okay. If it was a straddle pot, I would have made it bigger, but in a non-straddle pot, I think that's fine. The big blind and the middle position, the players from earlier, both make the call. So we are playing another 3-way pot with these two. Flop comes down king high on a paired board, so it's not our favorite, but I guess it's not our least favorite. Checks to me, I bet out $35 and both fold again. So we just keep on taking hands down with aggression. Unfortunately, it's not real aggression, it's aggression where we have it. So yeah, not too disappointed to be taking these hands down, but unfortunately we're not winning more money with our big pre-flop holdings. After a little while, we look down at ace-10 of diamonds from the button. We're starting this hand with about $380. Middle position opens up to $15. I make the call, and so does the big blind. So these are the same 3 players again, guys, playing another hand with the same 2 guys. Flop comes down ace high with no diamonds, so we're not too excited about that, but it's a decent flop for us, so I think we can play a little bit of poker here. The big blind checks. Middle position looks obviously disgusted and checks. So it's pretty weird. I'm not really sure what he could be that disgusted about. I mean, it's ace high flop and he opens, so it was just weird. I go ahead and bet out $25. The big blind folds, and the middle position player, who had looked visibly disgusted, shoves all in for $65 total. So I don't really know. Obviously $65 is not very much. He was very short stacked. This is a guy that I kind of liked have in the game. He's a good guy to have around. Yeah, I don't know. I decided to make the call here, hoping maybe he has pocket kings or something like that. Unfortunately, he flips over ace king of spades. So we're in about the worst shape you can possibly be in. Turn comes down to queen, river comes down to 7. That's it. So we lose a medium-sized pot here. Not super meaningful. Kind of unfortunate to find the ace there. But oh well, on to the next one. So a little bit of time goes by and we pick up some chips, you know, randomly and unexcitingly. I look down at pocket fives from the cutoff. We're starting this hand with about $375. The big blind makes it 20 bucks, and I am the only caller. So off to see a flop with a very active opponent, and we flop an overpair, guys. The flop is 3 deuce deuce, so pretty weird spot, and the action checks through. So I don't think it's too weird for it to check through. I don't think I necessarily need a donk lead here. He's in a very wide range. He definitely has some 2s in his opening range, so Anyway, I think it's fine. Turn comes down the 5 of clubs. So now there are 2 clubs on board and I have top boat. So that's pretty interesting. I have this so crushed. I don't think there's a lot of benefit here to trying to get money in. I don't think I'm going to get called by almost anything. Maybe like a pocket pair, but any pocket pair would have been betting here. So I check and he checks back. River comes down the king of diamonds. So pretty weird card. I don't know, unless he's got ace king, like it's kind of hard for it to hit anything. Obviously, I have to bet at this point, like not too much I can do after he checks to me. So I bet out $25 and we get some good news. He raises us to 75. So obviously we were just pumped. Gonna get some more money in the middle. Definitely loading up a raise here. Not really sure how big I should go. I think maybe going like with the min click back would have been okay. Maybe it just shows too much strength. I go ahead and make it $200. And he thinks about it for quite a while before folding. I didn't find out what he had. Obviously, there's no way he had us beat. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he had a king. If he folded a king there, that's very disciplined of him. Although I'm not going to have very many bluffs with this line, I don't think. So, oh well. We'll take this one down. Probably a definitely well-played hand by him, I think. Unless he was trying to trap us somehow. I don't really know. But we take it down. Good bit later, I look down at queen 9 of diamonds from the big blind, starting this hand with about $450. The middle position player, the one we've been playing all these hands with, makes it $20. I decide to go ahead and make the call. Under the gun +1 calls, and we are off to see a flop. Flop comes down a fairly interesting one for us. I don't know, maybe not that interesting. Flop is king 10-7 with 2 clubs, so we flop a gut shot, and the action checks through. So we're very happy to see a free card here, which comes down the queen of spades. So now we have 2 flush draws on the board, and I've got second pair. I go ahead and lead out for 25 here. Under the gun +1 calls. So kind of a weird spot. We have a limp caller in here, and the initial raiser got out of the way. The river comes down the 3 of clubs, so it completes the front door flush draw, and I decide to go ahead and lead out. I don't think I like this very much. The only time I'm really gonna be doing this is maybe if I have some sort of, I don't even know. Nothing really makes sense to me here. But I let out for $45 and it works out because the under the gun +1 player tank folds. So obviously he's gonna have way more flushes here than me. I don't know why I'm betting here, but we'll take it down. Maybe every once in a while, even if you play dumb, you get lucky, so oh well. A few hands later, we look down at ace jack suited from the cutoff again, starting this hand with about $450. There are 5 limpers to me. I decided to go ahead and make it $25. Guess how many callers I get, guys? I get 5 callers. 5 callers. So we are off to see a flop, hoping that we just somehow smash it. Flop comes down 10-7-4 with 1 club, so obviously a whiff for us. Under the gun bets $25. Under the gun +1 calls. Middle position raises to $55. I just go ahead and fold. I don't remember exactly how the money gets in, but the money ends up getting in on this hand with some other players involved. The turn comes down an ace, the river comes down a 10, under the gun and middle position of the players who get it in for about 150 each. One of them has king 10 off and one of them has 10-8 suited. So yeah, I don't know what the hell. I guess it's fine for them. I don't know. Limp calling, lots of limp calling. Oh well, off to the next one. Glad we got out of the way. Not too much later on, I look down at ace 10 offsuit for middle position. We're playing 6-handed and I'm starting this hand with about $430. I opened to 15 bucks. The small blind and the big blind being a very active regular, both make the call. The flop comes down 6 high, so not the flop for us. I decided to go ahead and c-bet on this pure whiff. I don't think I need to do that all the time, but I think I need to do that occasionally, especially since I have all the overpairs here and most of the set, and maybe all of the sets. So we get a call from the big blind, who is a guy who likes to play a very wide range, and I think is a pretty decent player. The turn comes down the 7 of clubs. I'm pretty much done with this hand. This kind of smashes his range, so if he's not going to let this go, he doesn't have like queen jack or something like that, so we're not taking it down. No reason to put in more money than we have to, and the action checks through. So we're off to see a river, which comes down the 2 of diamonds. Yeah, still not going to be betting at this. Action checks through again, and he shows us 6-2 offsuit. So he got there with 2 pair after calling our pre-flop raise with 6 deuce. So, okay, that's fine. This one we're looking at an ace-10 suited in the small blind. We're starting this hand at about $375. The action limps to me. I go ahead and make it $15. The low jack, who is the active player from the hand before, and the cutoff, who I've been in a bunch of hands with, both call. Flop is a fairly interesting one. The flop comes down queen, queen 7 with 2 hearts, so a pretty interesting one for us. The low jack checks. The cutoff bets $25. I make the call and the low jack folds. So kind of an interesting spot. The turn comes down the 4 of diamonds, so not our favorite card. Obviously, we would like to make our flush. The cutoff bets out $25, so very small sizing again. I decide this is a spot where I can probably take it away from him. I don't think this is how he's going to play a queen. I think he's going to bet bigger. This seems like a smaller pair to me a lot of the time, or maybe even like ace-king, something they completely missed. I decide to go ahead and raise it up to $80. So I slide out 80 bucks, and he goes deep into the tank. He thinks about this for quite a while. Obviously, I'm rooting for a fold. Even if he calls, we probably have equity. Actually, we for sure have equity. So I guess either outcome wouldn't be that bad for us. Good news is he makes the fold and shows us pocket jacks. So we get away with one here. Pretty happy with how I played the hand. Yeah, nothing to complain about. I think I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah, take that one down with a little semi-bluff. A bit later on, we look down at ace-king offsuit from the cutoff, so buckle up guys, here comes an ace-king hand. I'm starting this hand off with about 425. The action limps / folds to me. I go ahead and raise it up to $25, and the button 3-bets us to 75. I decided to just go ahead and make the call here. I'm not necessarily trying to put in a 4-bet with ace-king in this spot. I'm going to be out of position against the button, so I think this is an okay spot to just flat. Flop comes down a very good one for us. The flop is ace-7-4 with 2 hearts. We have the ace of hearts, so that's great. Feeling very good about our situation. The action ends up checking through. So obviously I'm going to check here to the raiser, hoping that he can have ace-queen or something like that and put in more money. Unfortunately, he does not. The turn comes down the 9 of clubs. So I decide to go with the delayed c-bet here and lead out for $100. And he makes the call. So we're very happy that he comes along here. I'm not really sure what he could have that he would play this way. Maybe 10s through kings, possibly. Although I don't think this is the player type that's going to be 3-betting me with pocket 10s. Maybe jacks, kings, or queens. That's about all that I think he's going to be doing this with. The river comes down the 5 of diamonds. So pretty much everything that he should reasonably have bricks out. I go ahead and bet out for $125, hoping that I can get a call from maybe a weaker ace or maybe one of those big pocket pairs who won't believe me. He thinks about it for quite some time before eventually putting in the call. We flip our hand over and he shows us pocket kings, so we take this one down, win a big hand with ace king. How did we do it? We outflop pocket kings. Pretty excited. Building up a little bit of a stack here. Thank God we won an ace king hand. In the last hand we're going to go over, I look down at 6-5 hearts from the button. We're all the way down to playing 4-handed, and this is looking like it's going to be about the end of the session. I'm starting this hand with about $625. The under the gun first act player limps. I go ahead and raise it up to $15. The big blind and the under the gun player both make the call. So we are off to see a flop, which comes down queen 6-2 with 2 clubs. So decent but not amazing flop for us, obviously. The action checks through. I don't think I'm gonna c-bet on this flop. Yeah, I don't have any clubs. There's all kinds of hands with queens in them they will call, so I think a little bit of pot control here is just pretty much okay to do. The turn comes down the 3 of diamonds, so it gives us a little bit of extra equity. Yeah, don't hate that card. Obviously, it's a pretty decent card for us, not necessarily that great of a card for anybody else. The big blind checks, and the under the gun player decides to go ahead and lead out here for $20. So I decide to make the call. It doesn't really make sense for him to have hardly anything here. We just picked up equity, so we maybe could have raised. I wouldn't have hated that necessarily. And we have a pair that could definitely be good. I think we would hear about it on the flop if he had a queen. So yeah, that's kind of what my thought process is. And the big blind makes the fold. So we're off to see a river, which comes down the ace of hearts which should be a great card for my range since I was a pre-flop opener. The under the gun player, however, is not deterred and he bets out $35. So I'm trying to think what he could possibly have here. How many aces is he gonna have that don't do something pre-flop? Like he just limp called pre-flop, so I don't really understand what he could have here. I guess he could have some wonky 2 pair like 6-3 or 3 deuce, or I don't even know. Nothing really makes a whole lot of sense. So after I think about it for a little bit, I decide it's time to make a call here. I don't really think there's a whole lot that he can have that makes any sense. So I slide in the calling chips and he instantly mucks his hand. So we take this one down. I don't even think we had to show our hand. That's how convinced he was that he was losing. So go ahead and take this one down. It's time to rack up some chips again. 2 wins in a row. We got a black chip in this session. We're feeling good. Well guys, that one felt real freaking good. We didn't play terrible, won a big hand with ace king, had a winning session, very excited, super happy, headed home, a little bit tired. It's almost midnight, so a little bit longer than our normal sessions lately, I guess. But overall, super happy with how we played. Didn't end up winning the like massive hand at the end of the night. Watched 2 other players playing that one, and one of our favorite guys took that down, so we're okay with that. Very happy with how things went. Really happy with how I played for a change, which is pretty unusual. We'll definitely take it. So don't forget, like and subscribe if you guys like the content. Hopefully we can keep these wins rolling. Have a good one. See you next time.